Clay County Commission to order. We will begin with our invocation. Mr. Austin, if you are prepared, please proceed.
Our Father in heaven, we are so grateful for the opportunity to meet together this evening as citizens of Clay County to discuss the needs of this area. We are grateful, Father, for this free country, for the opportunity that we have to be involved in civic matters and to be able to learn and grow together. We would ask and pray that you will send your spirit with us this evening, especially on the commissioners. Help them as we discuss, that they will have an added measure to be able to look at things objectively and what's best for the county. We would also ask and pray that you will bless them and their families with an extra measure of spirit as they serve their civic duties to the best of their abilities, that they will be strengthened and be able to do what they can and what they were called to do. We are grateful, Father, and these things we ask and pray and do so in the sacred name of our Savior, even Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Withington? Here. Commissioner Lawson? Here. Commissioner Wagner? Here. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
Next on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion? Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion has been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next are ceremonial matters. We have one issue, that is 2025-143. Administrator, if you'd like to, acting administrator, if you'd like to introduce our staff member.
Yes, Resolution 2025-143 is a proclamation for Public Services Recognition Week, which is May 5th through 11th, and HR Director Kim Callahan is here to provide additional information.
Please proceed.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kim Callahan, HR Director. So as he said, next week is Public Service Recognition Week, and we want to thank our employees for their dedication to public service. We also want to acknowledge their work makes a real difference in our community, and we're very grateful for their commitment. I have Trish Lewis here, who is the recipient of the Thoughtful Innovation Award last year, and she's going to accept the proclamation. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to just state a couple of the items. The Public Service Recognition Week is nationwide celebration of the contributions of government employees at all levels. So Clay County employees provide essential services that enhance the quality of life for our community. So we do think it's appropriate to acknowledge and express gratitude for their hard work, dedication, and achievements of our Clay County employees. So I'd like to give her the proclamation, and she's going to take pictures with you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Did you have anything you'd like to share with us?
I would
Oh,
love
go
to.
ahead and go to the microphone, please.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. I have recently lost my voice
Yes,
today.
she talks.
Apparently I talk a little too much. So
We appreciate her being here
Yes,
tonight
thank
and
you guys
accepting
so
the
much.
award.
Are there any comments from the commission regarding this proclamation? Seeing none. Did you want us to come down and take a picture
Yes,
all together?
please. Yes,
okay,
please.
well, we will stand at ease for a few moments and take that chance to congratulate in person, and then we will resume.
All right, thank you.
With that, we will resume. We will now go to public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on any issues not on our agenda this evening? Please come forward, and when you come forward to speak, make sure of a couple of things, that the green light is on the microphone. Please speak directly into the microphone and identify yourself for the audio recording. So I think your mic is not quite on yet. There you go, good.
Hello, my name is Dawn Ballou, and I live in Clay County, Kearney, Missouri, Somerset Division. And I'm here in regards to the roads issues that we have on 170th and Cole Road that I live on. I've lived there for 9 years. The road that they tore up a year ago is nothing but gravel. This is not chip. It's not chip and seal, if you want to see it. This is what our road looks like. I bought property on a paved road. I didn't buy property on a chip and seal gravel. We have 20 homeowners that live in there. They all own 3 acres and up. We had a petition signed. I brought you a copy. Listing all the homeowners on here about the issues related to that road. Do you want me to give this to you?
Go ahead, and what I'd like you to do is to give it
Okay, I'm passing it
to Kip, and what he will do is he will make copies and make sure that we all get that.
No, those, he can keep those. I've got
Thank you.
plenty. I first addressed the issues. I wasn't the only one. There were several other neighbors that would call Clay County and speak with Jessica. And Jessica would get with somebody, well, let me get with somebody about filling the hose up, or, you know, the issues that were going before they decided to tear up the street. The issues after the street was tore up, I also, in my petition, it said on here, the road surfaces, road was previous blacktop versus chip and seal as indicated with attached photos. I've got photographs that I took off of Google back in 2020, what they looked like before they tore them up and what they looked afterwards. You'll see where they were kind of paved, and then the second picture shows where it's nothing but gravel. I guess all I need to do is pay attention to you guys here. You can look at that.
If, yeah, and if you have that in electronic form, that might be easier for Kip to distribute to us, or for the administration to distribute to us. Thank you.
And the issues on that petition were also potholes and loose gravel. Both Cole Road and 170th are plagued by numerous potholes and loose gravel, which cause damage to vehicles and create hazardous driving conditions. The way they did the road in some sections, there's either holes in the middle where there's potholes filled with water, or you get to the end of the cul-de-sac and it's draining all in one person's yard. So if it rains hard enough, all that water's going to come down and go into his yard. Lack of road markings. On some sections of the roads, faded or missing road markings, reduced visibility at night. Also, traffic safety hazards. Deterioration of the road conditions increases the likelihood of accidents, including damage to vehicles, injury to drivers, passengers, and potential fatalities. We believe that immediate repairs and maintenance are essential to ensure the safety and well-being of all who travel those roads. The current state of Cole Road and 170 is not only a danger to motorists, but also reflects poorly on the infrastructure of our county. We respectfully request the following actions be taken soon as possible. Comprehensive resurfacing and loose gravel and cracks along Cole Road and 170th Street. Improvement of drainage systems to prevent flooding after heavy rain. Repainting and updating the road markings for clearer visibility and safer navigation. Regular maintenance and monitoring of road conditions to ensure long-term safety and durability. We, the undersigned, call on Clay County Department of Public Works and local government officials to prioritize these necessary repairs and allow the required resources to address the road conditions on Cole Road, 170th, and our community deserves safe, reliable, and we are asking for your support in making that reality. That was one. Then I sent one also, it was all certified, sent it to the administrator, Clay County, Diana Wright, back on 4/14 with this petition and also mine stating the conditions of the road. And it was certified, and you can see that. A few of the homeowners could come tonight. A lot of them have other plans that couldn't make it. But we brought, there's 3 other homeowners beside myself that can tell you about the roads. And my question was, how do you determine what is, when they go in and somebody's starting to build, who makes that determination? Does that road get blacktop? Does it get chip and seal? Does it get chat and oil? Or does it get just gravel? And at one time when that subdivision started out, there were only 3 homeowners on it. There are now 20. There's a lot of traffic up in there. And now people can't push their strollers on that loose rock. I find it in my garage, comes off on my tires. You can't ride a bicycle, somebody easily slip and fall. I'm just trying to address these issues because myself as a homeowner, I spend a lot of money on taxes, and I don't think our taxes are being used wisely. And again, you have the information that I provided you, and each one of these gals here would like to get up and say something. They have stuff to say, so I'm not the only one talking. But we would like to have these addressed. I did bring another picture. Coming down Jesse James Road, your first road is called Sugar Plum. Sugar Plum has 8 homes on it, and it's blacktop. Might as well add this to it. Just kind of curious, why is that blacktop? Then you go to the next street, 161st Street. It probably has, what did I count? 15 houses, it's blacktop. The next road coming up would be Ragsdale. So why, I'm just curious of why and how these roads get chosen, what they get, whether it's gravel or, like I said, chip and seal, blacktop. I don't know. I just would like to know what the answer is to that. Because myself as a homeowner, I pay a lot of money in taxes. And if they started out with chip and seal on that road 40 years ago, you now have how many more houses that have been built on there? Why hasn't somebody looked at those roads and say, wow, this road and this many individuals are paying taxes? How come we haven't decided to do something different with that road? And the 9 years I've been there, I called the county 2 times to fill the 2 holes in front of my house. It took a year to get those filled. What did they fill them with? They filled them with blacktop, not chip and seal. So we would just like to have some of our answers to our questions because we're concerned. I don't like driving. Every time somebody drives past my house, dust flies. Here's a picture of what it looks like. So you can all get a picture. This is what it looks like with dust coming from my house. When Northwest Electric went down to clean off the mud, this is what I'm saying. Gravel makes this kind of dust, not black top road, not a chip and seal. I think that's what I deal with. My house is covered with that stuff. I didn't buy a house to have a rock road or a gravel road. So I'll let these other homeowners take their turn and speak, and I'm sure there's stuff that they want to tell.
Before you sit down, I just want to verify that the information you've given us does contain your contact information, your phone number, and all that.
Every one of the homeowners signed it, their address, their phone numbers.
Okay, good. I want to make sure we had the ability to get back to you. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Mary Curtis, and I've lived in this addition since October of 1975, going on 51 years. And this is the worst road resurfacing I have known in my lifetime there. It's always been good. This is my opinion of what happened last year, and I may be wrong, but I'm going to tell you anyway what I think happened. In June, they came and tore up the road like they're getting ready to, I thought, the seal and tar, or whatever you all call it now. I went on vacation in July, and I thought, oh, perfect time. When I get back, it'll be done. No. August came. They came the last week in August. Now, I understand normally in August and the 1st of September, the temperature is exceptionally high, 90s to 100 degrees. It can be that high. And to do oil and chip, it's got to be hot, and it has to stay hot. And if the weather cools off at night, it cools off the tire. So I think that's what the problem was. If that was what they were supposed to give us, they didn't do it right because they didn't do it when everything was proper. Now, I read up on, they'd say when you do tar and seal, it could be 85 degrees. I read that up. It says it can be as low as 85. But when it gets cool at night, and I didn't check the Weather Bureau and all that stuff to see what the temperatures got that at night during that time, but their timing was really off. And to have our roads torn up for almost 3 months, I thought was bad too, to give us proper thing, because we had to drive on a road that was torn up per se, and didn't happen. Also, I do know, to bring up what Don was talking about, why we don't have asphalt versus chat and seal. My understanding when we bought into that addition, that the owner that developed that property, his name was Dudley Keys. When he turned over the roads to Clay County, we were told we were going to have good roads. That was a selling point. And as I said, I've never felt bad about it until this time. And there's several people that have been there since the 90s that have been through some of the different changes. And they've also, when I took the petition to help get the signatures, they also verified this was the worst they've seen it. They were displeased with it. So it wasn't hard to get people to sign the petition. Everybody was dissatisfied, but they just felt like you all wouldn't do anything. And I said, we got to try, which I appreciate Don for getting all the paperwork done for us. But yes, I think it needs to be relooked at and redone. You have any questions for me?
Thank you. Could the next person who'd like to comment come forward, please? Yes, come right on up.
Okay, my name's Kimberly Murphy, and I have lived there since 1978. And the last time the road was resurfaced, I cannot remember exactly, but it was over 13 years ago. It was about 15 years ago, I think. Obviously, it's kind of hard to remember. I'm sure you all have records, but the last time it was resurfaced, it was not done, to the best of my knowledge, with chip and seal. It was done with what at the time they told us was a kind of a new product, a newer product. They were experimenting with it to see if it would last longer and therefore be more cost-effective than chip and seal, which you have to resurface every few years. And like I said, it has not needed any maintenance until about a year ago. And so I remember when it went down. It was not applied like chip and seal. It seems to me it might have been almost a one-step process, and it was a big roller, and it was kind of a flexible, solid surface. I mean, that sounds odd, and it came out in a roller, and then it was, they rolled over it. And as I remember, they said that at the same time they were resurfacing Jesse James Farm Road south of 92 And they resurfaced our neighborhood at the same time they were resurfacing that part of Jesse James Farm Road. And as I remember, they said it was the same material. So now Jesse James Farm Road south of 92 has been resurfaced since then, But I do know that the neighborhoods, we're on the west side of Ragsdale Road. There are two neighborhoods on the east side of Ragsdale Road. One is directly across on 170th Street, and the other one is down a little bit south. And they have chip and seal, and they have been resurfaced 4 or 5 times, since our road has been resurfaced. So obviously, they're not the same. So I would appreciate a little investigation into this, but our road is still loose gravel. Maybe it was supposed to get smashed in, I have loose black gravel 6 feet into my driveway and into my grass and, all that. So just appreciate a little attention to the matter and questions answered like that. But
Hold on a moment. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you wanted to be recognized.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, ladies, for coming in and bringing this to our attention. I tell you, I take a lot of pride in what our Road and Bridge Department does, and they do some good work in the county. I'm kind of disappointed to hear that you're having some problems out there. Just quick question, have you guys looked to see when you're due to be resurfaced? Have you looked online on the resurfacing plan, or have you talked to our Roads and Bridge Director?
And please re-identify yourself, because some of them are just audio only.
I'm Mary Curtis again.
Thank you.
And Dawn said she called the number here to talk to the Clay County Highway Department. I did it, and they never returned my calls. They said somebody returned my calls. One of the things I was asking about, because I went online, and it showed, if you looked at the projections for this year,
Yeah.
it had Ragsdale Road and 170
Right.
potentially for this year. Well, I thought, why is it this year if we were just done last year? And that's what I was trying to get straightened out, was to figure out why, are we really getting looked at again this year? Or, because we did get it done in 2024. But no one ever returned my call to answer that question. So to be truthful, I do not know, other than if you go to your website right now to the road, well, I didn't look at it tonight, but I did it about 2 weeks ago. It gave you a list of what was going to be done, and it showed we were on the list, but the lady told me on the phone, she said, that's a proposal, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. So I was just trying to get a clarity before we did all this signing, but.
Well, let me tell you, I can get you you guys asked several good questions here tonight, how the process works, everything, very good questions. I can get you answers to every single one of your questions, and I'll introduce you to the guys who are in charge of our Road and Bridge Department. His name is Tom Degenhart. Tom, raise your hand. That's the guy that's in charge right there. He's going to walk out there in a minute and talk with you guys out in the hallway and answer your questions for you. How's that?
I have one more question. I did call.
Yeah, if you please come up and so that we can, because that way we can get it on the
I did
recording.
talk with somebody named Jessica, and she said, well, I'll have somebody go out and look at the roads. She told me they sent an inspector. Of course, I had to call back. It was like 2 weeks later. Well, what did you find out? Well, the inspector went out there and said the road was just fine. There was nothing wrong with the road. So if they surfaced the road like they said they did in '24, why would we even be considered to have our road done again if it was done right?
I think what we need to do is, Commissioner Johnson, hold on a moment, please. Commissioner Johnson's point is a good one, and that is, this is something that I believe we need to handle through our highway administrator, and I don't think we want to get into specific employees and what they had said or didn't say at this moment. I think we need to concentrate on getting you the information you need and keep our focus there. We can't really debate this thing so much, but we do want to inquire to make sure that we understand what your comments are. So from that point of view, obviously Commissioner Johnson's remarks are in order because he is getting clarification for a citizen's comment. So I would hold those to be in order. Did you have anything else to say? We have another commissioner that wanted to be recognized?
We'll be more than happy to talk with him.
Okay. Okay, so Commissioner Withington, you are recognized.
I was just going to introduce you to Tom also, but I was going to say, we probably are going to relook at your road because there were several roads that were chip and seal that were done a few years ago that we are going to upgrade, but Tom will be able to address that. So your road probably is due to be upgraded to asphalt, but Tom will be able to answer that for you.
Okay.
Was there a fourth lady who cared to make comment? If you're done, ma'am, yeah, go ahead.
And I'm Gwendolyn Blatt, and my husband and I have lived in the neighborhood. We live next to Don on Cole Road, and they pretty well have covered most everything I've said. But same thing is, you know, we have more gravel road than what we did have. And I mean, you can't not even mow down close to our ditches because it's just so much gravel that it just tears up our lawnmowers. I mean, we can't even have our lawnmowers as high as it will go without rocks just flying every place. And all of us in the neighborhood, I know, have fairly new lawnmowers, which that's a big concern. And then we have taken, since this has started, shovels. The gravel comes in our garage so bad that we take shovels full of this and have to dump it back out of the garage because there is so much gravel, not chip and seal, not blacktop, gravel, because the 13 years I've been there have not looked like this at all. And I know we were home when they come and filled Don's, when we had supposedly chip and seal that looked like blacktop, come and filled her holes in front of her house, and it was blacktop. We were home at that time. So I guess my question is, why did they put blacktop in there, you know, at that time when we supposedly had chip and seal on the road? Because that didn't even make sense to us. I mean, if anything, I know all of us and all of them that signed the petition would take back the road that we had compared to what we had. I mean, we had potholes, granted, but it is nothing like what we have now, nothing. I mean, there is so much gravel in our yards and everything. I mean, it is just like living on a gravel road. Just like Don showed you the pictures. I mean, you drive down the road and it's just like a gravel road. I mean, it is not like a chip and seal, and it is definitely not like any kind of blacktop road. And I know for a fact we would not have bought in that house area. And I know for a fact she would not have bought in this house area on a gravel road. We lived on a gravel road at one time, and that's why we moved, to get away from that. And, you know, and here we are back taking a shovel, digging it out of our garage. So, I mean, something has to be addressed where at least we have it back to the potholes with the whatever, the blacktop or whatever we had down. So, I mean, we appreciate any of your help. I mean, and anything that we can get back done, because a lot of, like Don said, the neighborhood around did not have blacktop, and now they have blacktop on their road. And they have 8 houses compared to what we have in our neighborhood. And so that is a question. Why did they get it and we did not get it? I mean, and why did they tear up our road like a gravel road and just left it that way? So I guess, you know, all of us that signed that petition, which was every person in that neighborhood, and like Don said, most of them couldn't come because they didn't get off work in time, but all of us are concerned about it. So I guess, you know, we thank you for your time, and I hope we get this solved. Hope we get it solved without a problem.
Mr. Jones, would you make sure that not only do, and obviously you will want to interact with the administrator, make sure that all commissioners get that, but also that Mr. Degenhardt also gets any materials that have been submitted tonight. Also, ladies, if you would care to, if you want to submit some other materials for our consideration, please make sure that you get that to us. And Mr. Jones is acting administrator this evening. Our regular administrator is out of town at the moment, but we want to make sure that whatever information you can send us subsequently also gets distributed to all commissioners and to Mr. Degenhardt. So please feel free to provide us with any other information that you think we should be aware of.
Oh, well, that's why we brought what it looks like. This is what it looked like.
We'll hear from you as well as him. After we talk with him, he'll report to you his findings.
Yeah. I'm sorry? We need to hear from him. Yeah, that is exactly right. You need to hear from, I'm sorry, Commissioner Johnson was saying you really need to hear from Mr. Degenhardt. In no small part because he is the person within government who has the most detailed knowledge and will be able to be the most responsive. But we want to also have that information so that when we have interactions, we have the ability to do so intelligently.
Okay, you're right. Thank you.
Is there anyone, oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Withington, your mic is on. Did you have any other comments? Okay, Commissioner Lawson, you are recognized.
I'm live. Thank you. Thank you, ladies, very much for coming. Mr. Degenhardt, the only thing I would ask of you, once that you have spoken with these ladies and you find out what the disposition is going to be, I'd really appreciate an email and let me know. Ladies, I'll get your names and all, and I will be sending you something. I'm Commissioner Lawson, and I'll be happy to do that for you.
Any other citizens wishing to comment to the commission? Seeing none, that brings us to the consent agenda. Mr. Acting Administrator.
The consent agenda allows the commission to act upon items considered to be routine and approved in one motion. These may include items that have been reviewed by the commission in a prior session. There will be no separate discussion unless a commissioner requests that an item be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Tonight we have 5 items on the consent agenda, including commission meeting minutes from April 17th at 6 p.m., April 24th at 5:30 p.m., and April 24th at 6 p.m. Resolution 2025-145 is to approve invoice payments for Clay County for the period of April 19th through April 25th. There are a total of 280 invoices for $1,038,000.71. Resolution 2025-149 is to approve a quote for the upgrade of the Unified Communications Manager. Resolution 2025-150 is to approve term and supply agreements with Black & McDonald, Mark I Electric Company, and Superior Electrical Construction for electrical services. And 2025 Ordinance 12 is to approve amending Ordinance 2024 Ordinance 12 to expand the Airport Advisory Board.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion has been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner? Motion passes 6-0.
Next on our agenda is the regular agenda. First item listed there is 2025-147. Please proceed.
Resolution 2025-147 is a request for waivers of fees, interest, penalties, and taxes due to a county error. The applicant is Heartland Tires and Treads of Kansas City, and Administrative Services Director Dieta Jacobs is here to provide additional information.
Good
Thank
evening.
you.
Administrative Services Director Dieta Jacobs. The first request for waiver is from Heartland Tire and Tread. They are indicating that on December 26th of 2024, they mailed a check in the amount of $99,939 and some change to pay for the taxes on 4 parcels. They noticed that the check had not cleared as of January 13th, so they responded to the administration building and asked us to check to see if we had received it. At that point in time, we asked them we stated we did not have it, and we asked them to check back with us in a couple of days because it was a heavy volume. They returned on January 21st, and we still had not received the check. So at that time, members of the staff of Heartland Tire wrote 4 separate checks to cover the amount of the taxes and penalties. At this point, and the check was mailed at North Kansas City Post Office. And we have here the new owner or co-owner, Mr. Long, who would like to address the commission.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself, speak into the microphone, and proceed.
My name's Jason Long. I'm the new part owner of Heartland Tires and Treads and the general manager. And one thing I've uncovered is going through these transactions that sending a check through the mail of $99,000 is not acceptable. So I saw that when I took over the position. I started uncovering things. So going forward, when these bills get sent out, do they get sent out in November 1st? When do the property taxes get sent out?
Tax bills get sent out the end of November by
End
the
of
1st of
November?
December.
Okay. So the one thing that I came here on behalf of Heartland, and what I was seeing and just seeing what could be done. And nothing could be done, that's understandable.
Okay. Are there any questions of the applicant? Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. Number one, thanks for being here this evening. Appreciate you coming. Sorry you have to come under these circumstances.
No, it's okay.
Just a couple questions so I understand what I'm seeing in the packet that we have here. So there is a copy here of the check that was written for $6,254.65. And I guess, let me make sure I've got this correct. I'm not sure what I see is matching up with.
Yeah, from reading the notes.
This is the wrong one, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So I guess if you would just, so the issue here is that it was sent through the post office. The post office, for whatever reason, it did not get through to us.
Right.
And, sorry, I'm trying to find the new agenda packet. But is there something, I guess what I'm looking for is just something that suggests.
The timeline of events is what bothers me on my side, but if we sent a check in December.
Right.
And then we went back, that was when the office manager went back. And then when I took ownership was a little bit less than a month ago.
Got it.
So now I'm here.
Got it.
A lot of fun.
Okay. So the check detail that's listed here for us is what you've generated to show that it was actually paid on time as far as you were concerned, when the check was generated and sent.
When the check was generated, yes.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Got it. Thank you very much. Thanks again for being here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, sir, for being here. So if I'm following this, you mailed the check on time for $99,000.
I wasn't the owner then. If I would have known that then, I would have never done that.
Yeah.
I would have never even authorized that.
Live and learn.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But so the issue is now that it never got delivered. And so it's a problem with the post office is what we're assuming?
Well, I think it was the post office, but when we're sending one check to distribute for 4 different property, yes. I think the distribution of funds might have been a delay as well. We mailed one check, but the problem is you're dividing it to 4 different places.
Yeah, but was that check ever received?
That's the problem, no.
No, that check has not surfaced, whether either with the business or here at the county.
Yes.
Okay, so how can we give us some kind of evidence? Give us some kind of, is there anything that could show to us that check was actually written? And you're just not, and I'm not accusing you of this, but you're just not standing up there and saying, hey, I wrote the check, I don't know where it is. Is there anything, do you have like a duplicate of the check? Is there a copy?
I'm gonna have to get a hold of the CFO tomorrow morning and find out where that check is or where it is from our bank. Now that I have the power to do that, I'm going to find out.
Okay, to
Learning
me,
what
that
I'm
makes all the
learning.
difference in the way. If you can show like a duplicate, I don't know if they do it like a carbon copy or something like that. I mean, that's old school.
I
but-
will find,
But so is mailing checks.
I'll find anything you need.
What I'm looking for, what I would like to see, is something that can show me, or at least indicate that, yes, you guys mailed a check
On the
before it
fourth day
was due. And that would kind of put a little bit more of the onus on the post office.
Right.
See, we normally can't waive any of these unless it's our fault. And this doesn't appear to be our fault. If it's anybody's fault, and if you mailed it on time, then it's the post office's fault.
Well, true.
And there are some exceptions that we might be able to work around, but the big thing for me right now is I need to see something that shows, yeah, you actually wrote a check.
Sure.
And it was a check that has a date on it, whatever. So if you can find that out, and maybe we could postpone this, that's my suggestion. If you think, because we're talking about a $10,000 penalty here, yeah, I would shoot for that if I was you. There might be some other commissioners that have some comments on that, but that's what I would like to see, which would help me.
I'm open. If I can add that to my bottom line, great. If not, oh wait.
Commissioner Johnson, I've got at least one other commissioner who'd like to comment. If you're interested in making that motion, I would like to go ahead and hear what other commissioners have to say, and then if that seems to be the way you want to go, we'll go ahead and do that. But I want everybody to have their say before we take an action. Commissioner Wagner?
Thank you, and I'll come back maybe with a more detailed question. So this check detail inquiry that is within our packet, I am assuming is something that you have generated, because what I see is something that looks fairly official, that whether you're using QuickBooks or whatever accounting software you're using, I'm assuming that this is generated from that to show that there were 4 bills, one check.
Yep.
So to get to my colleague's question, short of an actual carbon of the check that was actually generated.
Yes.
This is a representation from you as to this is how we reported it internally to show that a check was actually created and then therefore sent. Am I?
You're right.
Okay. I figured this was your way of addressing his question, short of a carbon of the. Do they even make carbons of checks anymore? I don't write checks anymore.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But I remember those days. I used to have one of those back in the day.
Yeah.
But this is your way of at least showing that, at least from your systems, something was generated out of your offices to pay that bill.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
No problem.
By the way, Commissioner Wagner, I do in fact have a checkbook that still has carbons on it. So certainly I appreciate the old school, and I would see that as certainly very pertinent, because it's certainly my antiquated way of working. With that, we will move away from the object of me being an old fogey to Commissioner Lawson.
So my question is then, that's just what I was asking him before he pointed it out to me. If this is check detail from them, is this sufficient to show that they did actually send the check in these amounts and that check number?
If you're asking me, my personal opinion is yes, because the old-fashioned carbons are in fact part of the book, therefore they are part of it. To do this would require a degree of premeditation that I think does not seem very likely. So because the fact that it is bound and there are checks that have been written subsequent to that, if that, for me, I would see that as compelling information, once again in my old school way.
Yeah. Now, so I should ask the attorney, did you see this?
Is it the check registry?
Yeah, it's a check register for them, and it's showing, yes, sir, that's correct.
Is this generated by your system? Okay.
Yeah. So are we legal to do that then, to accept that?
Close to what Commissioner Johnson was interested in.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I believe Commissioner Johnson is preparing to make a motion. Is there any comment that would like to be made beforehand? And then I'll recognize Commissioner Johnson. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner, and we'll just see if anyone else chimes in before you make your...
Okay, so this changes things a little bit for me, and our attorney just pointed this out. I thought this was generated by our county assessor's office, but this is from your system that shows the check date and the date of the check. Is that correct? It says check detail inquiry is the heading. It says vendor number. It says Clay County Assessor. It gives a check number and the date of 12/26. Then it shows 4 different
Yes, this is,
estate taxes and property
I had
tax.
to double check. This is ours, yes.
So that's not ours, right? That's generated by them. And so their system is showing that the check was written on the 26th, 12/26 for $99,930. Wow, $39. Right?
Yeah.
So this says this is all 4 different properties, but they rolled it into one check. So they paid it all with one check. Have you done that in previous years?
I do not know, but I'm going to find out.
You don't know.
Going forward, I'm not. I'm going to pay individually.
So, and do you know if the...
In person, yes. I will definitely be here.
So, once you guys realize this check could possibly be lost, did anyone put a cancellation on this check?
That I need to find out too. Again, I took ownership a month ago. This is prior to me, yes.
Okay.
So, here I am.
I'm wondering if my colleagues, if this is enough to show that it was paid and it got stuck in the post office somewhere or not. Is that enough for, 'cause if that's enough, then I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion. That, let me find it. I'm getting there. I'm going to make the motion that we approve 2025-147 with the box marked approves.
Okay. Motion has been made for the approval of 2025-147 with the box marked approved. Further discussion? Seeing none, you're recognized to close. I'm sorry, do you have any closing remarks before we go for a vote?
No.
Just before I close, just so you understand what that means, this would be to approve the waiver of fees.
Thank you.
To get the money back. So I close.
And just to clarify his remarks, we have to pass it one way, they're either approved or not approved. So that was what Commissioner Johnson was communicating, just for the sake of anyone else. With that, please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And yes, I'm learning quite a bit, so.
That brings us to the next issue on our regular agenda, that is 2025-148.
Resolution 2025-148 is a request for waiver of fees, interest, penalties, and taxes due to a county error. The applicants are Vincent and Lisa Nolan, and Administrative Services Director Dieta Jacobs is here to provide additional information.
Administrative Services Director Dieta Jacobs. Staff had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Nolan today. She declined to respond because the vehicle plates were suspended, and when she was given the option to call in, she declined that as well, stating that she believed that her packet would speak for itself. Would you like to continue with this one? Okay. So Mr. and Mrs. Nolan attempted to pay their personal property tax using an e-check online December 31st. That check did not clear the account. The reason given to us from the bank, which was Community Credit Union, indicated that the account was not correct account number. We mailed out a letter notifying them that their payment was rejected on January 7th. Mr. Nolan indicates later on that he did not receive any type of notification from us until he received notification from the Department of Motor Vehicles, we had asked that their license be suspended until their taxes get paid. Mrs. Nolan came in and paid the principal amount, but did not pay any penalty or interest. So that is what is still accruing, is the penalty and interest that they owed from the returned e-check in January. They're requesting that be waived.
Commissioner Johnson.
Just for clarification, so this was when you say an e-check, is that a check that is sent from the bank?
That's a check that when you go online, you have to enter your banking account information and routing number. So if they enter the wrong account number, it won't kick it back like it does a credit card or a debit card. It has to go to the bank, and the bank will verify if that account is valid or not.
Okay.
And that's where it got caught up.
Okay, so this wasn't sent by the bank. So this was a mistake on their part by not putting in the correct numbers? Is that what it
Yes.
sounds like?
Commissioner Lawson.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
when I looked at this earlier today, I called up our collector and talked to her a little bit about it. And the thing that struck me was that the notice went out on the 7th, and it advised there was a $25, penalty because they just probably put the wrong routing number in. So had they paid that right away, it would have been $25.
No, ma'am.
As I understood, right?
No, that's the return check fee. The $25 is the return check fee. They
Yeah.
they still would have been charged the fee and interest for not having made their
For the
payment before
90
January.
$94.90. Okay, yeah, but they had, they said, and they were advised that in 30 days, had that not been done, it would be referred to the License Bureau, and then they would pull their license. And I felt kind of like that happened in January. We're talking March now, If it was done right away, then it would have never been referred to the License Bureau. I realize, $94 isn't anything to sneeze at, but if it had been done right away, then there wouldn't have been a lot of this legal problem. And now we're looking at it. I don't feel like the county is in any way at fault with this.
Further comments or questions? And as you said, the applicant is not here this evening.
That's correct.
Very good. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2025-148 with the box mark denies.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2025-148 with the box mark denied. Any further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
Before I close, I just want to make one comment in case this person is listening. We don't have the authority to waive these fees if it's not our fault. There's certain exceptions you saw in the last one where it wasn't the other person's fault as well, and there's some issues with the post office. But nonetheless, when it's an error, as honest as that error is, and we've seen these come before us many, many times of people that have just put in the wrong number, and as frustrating as it is and how much many of us would like to be able to waive those fees, the state doesn't allow us. We're bound by the law, so we can't waive these fees even if we wanted to. So just know that, because it's not our fault, and it was a mistake by the person who was paying these fees. We cannot waive them. So with that, I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next item is 2025-151. Please proceed.
Resolution 2025-151 is a request for waiver of fees, interest, penalties, and taxes due to a county error. The applicant is Karen Hatley, and Administrative Services Director Dieta Jacobs is here to provide additional information.
Please proceed.
Administrative Services Director Dieta Jacobs. Staff has not been able to reach Ms. Hatley concerning this waiver. She did submit 4 separate waivers. We combined them into one request for commission action. They involve the request to waive taxes, penalties, and fees for 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. I would like to note that the taxes for 2021 have already been sent to circuit court, and a judge has ordered payment of those taxes, and she was supposed to make payment payments starting January 1 or January of 2025 on that tax bill, and we have not received anything in regard to that court order. So in 2022, Ms. Atlee filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy for the year of 2020, which included her personal property taxes. By the time that that was discharged by the court, it was too late for us to proceed after the 2020 taxes. In 2024, a balance due for the 2021 taxes was sent to the Circuit Court of Clay County, as I already mentioned. In December of '24, Ms. Hatley responded to the assessor's office and completed assessments for 22, 23, and 24, so she had not even been assessed yet. That resulted in the collector creating a new bill for a total of $4,988.09. That was as of April. January of this year, the court rendered a decision on the 21 taxes as previously indicated. Ms. Hatley states that if the commission waives the penalties and fees, that she will pay the principal on the remaining taxes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Thank you, Commissioner. I move that we pass 2025-151 with the box mark tonight.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2025-151 with the box marked denied. Further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
Close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
This brings us to the last issue on our regular agenda, that is 2025-146. Please proceed.
Resolution 2025-146 is to approve invoice payments for the Clay County Prosecutor's Office for the period of April 19th to April 25th. There are a total of 2 invoices for $443.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2025-146.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2025-146. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
Thank you. That concludes this evening's regular agenda. Next on our overall agenda are reports. We have 1, the Liberty Special Road District Number 5 Annual Report of Financial Transactions.
Yes, and if the commissioners have questions, please reach out to the auditor on that report.
Okay. With that, now we come to County Administrator comments.
Just that there is not a meeting next week, so the next meeting is Thursday, May 15th at 6 o'clock.
If I'm not mistaken, that is a state holiday, is it not?
It is. It is Truman Day.
Very good. That brings us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Carpenter, we'll start with you this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm sure somebody else will speak to the passing of firefighter, paramedic Graham Hoffman and the tragedy of that. Certainly join in the condolences that have been offered to his family and loved ones. About a month ago, I talked about how through the first quarter we had quite a spike in homicides here in the Northland. Specifically, just in the Kansas City city limits portion of the Northland, we had 12 in the first quarter, compared to 0 in the first quarter of the previous year and in the previous year as well. So obviously that's a pretty big jump. Since I made those remarks, we've had several additional homicides. Graham being one of the very tragic ones, just had a shooting at Argosy Casino with a chase, and then that resulted in a fatality as well on the south side of Liberty, border with Kansas City. I'm actually not certain if it was city limits of Liberty or Kansas City, but last week we had a homicide. So I just want to raise the issue again, I suppose, in terms of, seems like, I said at the time, I hoped that it was a kind of a statistical aberration and that maybe it would look something more like that. Unfortunately, we keep accumulating Northland homicides here, and I'm not sure what to make of it exactly, other than it's clearly an issue that is going to need attention of everybody in local government and law enforcement. It's one of those things where if you let an issue like that spiral out of control, it can kind of domino effect get worse and worse. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us and leaders in Kansas City and other municipalities here in Clay County to do everything we can to work with KCPD, work with Chief Graves, work with Sheriff Aiken, work with the governor's folks on the KCPD board. Everybody who has a role to play needs to start attuning to this issue and make sure we're doing everything we can to make sure that this doesn't get out of control to the extent that we see long-term changes here in our Northland community that we wouldn't want to see. So those are my remarks, open to ongoing discussions with any one of you going forward about what can or can't be done, and same thing to other, local electeds in the area and law enforcement folks. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, first of all, I share Commissioner Carpenter's concerns and appreciate his comments. I won't talk too much about that, but I do want to send my condolences to Graham's family. He's a paramedic that was stabbed in the heart, from what I understand, by a patient that he was transporting. And whenever a public servant, a public safety servant in our community dies, that's a tragic thing. But one that really makes us a head scratcher is, when it comes to law enforcement, in law enforcement, you throw people in jail. You take bad guys, you arrest them, you throw them in jail. There's a lot of fights that are involved in that, and sometimes shootings that are involved in that, and you sometimes expect a little bit of conflict there. But with a paramedic, his whole job is to help save lives. That's all he does. That's all he or she will do, is just save lives. I mean, I come from a family of there's 8 of us in law enforcement, there's 20-something who are nurses, and I have a son who's a paramedic. And all he does, and his co-workers, all they do is save lives. They don't put anybody in jail. They don't do anything to make anybody's life more miserable or to threaten them with anything or any kind of penalties or anything like that. They're just there to help. That's it. Just to help. And Graham was just there to help. And I think that's what just makes it even more of a head scratcher and just more, just sad. It's sad, it's frustrating. And then you add on top of that all these other murders and shootings and things that are going on that Commissioner Carpenter mentioned. It's just, we do need to keep that conversation going, and we need to continue to work on finding solutions. I've always said our public safety should be the priority of every government. I think that's where our focus should always be first, because if we don't have a safe community, then everything else will fail. Our businesses will fail, our schools will fail, our neighborhoods, our property values will fail. It all has to start with a safe community. And I think we need to really focus on that. I think we have as a commission, and it's the support we have for our sheriff's office and our prosecutor's office. But I think that discussion needs to keep going. And I think it's just sad to see what's going on, but I don't think we should give up hope, and I think we should keep pushing for what we can do to keep this community as safe as possible. And again, my thoughts and prayers out to Graham's family and friends, and hopefully we can stop this senseless killing.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. I too want to lend my voice to Graham's family and the other members of KCFD, who I know are taking this pretty hard. It is always a big deal when someone in that department loses their life, and I know we all share that, and I know all the members of that department share that. I will
take a moment to add a little bit to this discussion because I learned something new today, and I'll share it. So, as some of you know, one of my many side gigs, including this one, is that I teach as an adjunct professor at UMKC, and it's always about public policy related stuff. And I always have guests. My guest today was actually KCPD Deputy Chief Luis Ortiz, who until a month ago ran the Investigations Bureau for the department. He's now in administration. And the purpose of his visit was to talk about public safety for the 44 undergraduate students that I have. He talked specifically about the Northland today. Maybe it was because to pander to me, I don't know, but I was glad he did. Because he said something very interesting. He talked expressly about the increased number of homicides in the Northland. He served for about 9 years in Shoal Creek Division, so he has a little bit of history with us up here. He said the primary driver of why we are seeing more homicides in the Northland is mental health. And if you have read anything about what brought this unfortunate episode with Mr. Hoffman, if based on what I've read, and that is all I have to go on, mental health, right? And I think as he talked about, that has driven a number of homicides. It has driven a number of suicides in the Northland. And of course, we've even talked about in this chamber about opioids and how do we deal with that, and how some people self-medicate as opposed to seeing professional help. It was an eye-opener for me today to hear that that was what he pointed to. And so I offer as a, maybe not so much a solution, but a track to go on collectively, whether it's ourselves and others, to not underestimate that, to think about how we can provide more tools both to our first responders and for us as a county to deal with that. But I was very appreciative of the deputy chief putting that out there, because honestly, it was not an answer I was thinking of, but I appreciated the fact that he did. So my feeling as always is if you can do something so that someone else does not have to experience this, then it's an effort well worth doing. I don't know what that effort looks like, but at least it provides some pathway for discussion in the future. On a lighter note, Truman's birthday means a lot to me, not only because I'm a fan, but I'm such a fan that I named my youngest son after him. So I am always happy to celebrate Truman's birthday and my own son Truman's birthday when that rolls around in July. And I look forward to that discussion. If you do have the day off, go down to the home or go to the library. You'll be glad you did. Thanks very much.
Commissioner Lawson.
Well, even though Harry and I are on different sides of the aisle, I have to say he's always been one of my very favorite presidents. I say that every year because I truly, truly mean it. He was just a good old give him hell Harry, and I just appreciated the honest, good way that he approached his job. On this sad note of the paramedic that we lost, it really comes home that here's a young man, like you say, just trying to do good. It comes home to me even more because my granddaughter is a police officer in Illinois, and her future husband is a paramedic. And we were talking about this when they were in town this weekend, and he said there, in Illinois, which is a little rougher than it is here in Missouri, he said that when they go on a call that's even a little iffy, they have to have an officer with them. Now, is that a hell of a statement when you think about it? That he's rushing in to save somebody's life, he's got to have an officer with him to protect his life. So, pretty sad state of affairs. For the Northland, you're right on the money, buddy. I was listening to with great interest in the incident that happened in Kearney, where the guy was casing the neighborhood and they went to arrest him, and had an open warrant for 15 years or something, and they were able to arrest him. I remember living in Kearney, outside of Kearney, and you left your doors open. You went to the grocery store, you left your car open. Left your kid in the car. That's horrible to say. Okay, take me to jail. But you didn't, you never thought about those kinds of things in Kearney. But now it's reality. Garages are getting broken into, and that's just one small part of the Northland. But it's happening all over. And it's not for lack I don't feel on the Clay County side, the lack of our sheriff and law enforcement out there all the time. I see the cars out in the rural areas a lot. It's just that this is what things are turning into, and the mental health thing, that, really, if you think about it, yeah, that's with all the opioid and all of that, you betcha, it's a reality. So I say, happy birthday, Harry, on the good side, and on the other side, let's just pray that we can try to get this under control in the Northland and support our law enforcement as best we can. So hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.
Commissioner Withington.
I'd like to send my condolences to Kansas City Fire Department and Graham Hoffman's family also. But also like to share my condolences with one of our own, Wendy Herman from the clerk's office. Her mom passed away. So I want to send my condolences to Wendy and her family. Also, we talk about mental health. May 1st is today. Mental Health Awareness Month is in May. I've told you all every year, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. Kim sent out an email today. I replied to it and sent everybody an email also, and I mean it, I think that's something we need to talk about to break the stigma. We need to support one another, and we need to prioritize self-care. So thank you, Kim, for sending that out. And also, I'd like to, I know you're filling in for the administrators, take notes. I'd like to request that we have the assessor give us a presentation on how exactly they do assessments. Since the notices went out, got a ton of emails and calls. So like the assessor to go over that. And then a county attorney, we may need you for another conversation. I would like to see how we as a governing body can put a cap on property tax increases. I know Jackson County recently capped theirs at 15%. So I want to see if there's something we can do from us if it takes an initiative, citizens initiative, or if there's something we can do as an ordinance or resolution. But I'd like to see what we can do to cap property taxes for Clay County. That's all I got.
I also want to add my condolences to the commissions for the family of the fallen firefighter. I think we're used to the idea that occasionally there's going to be an accident that befalls and ends up with a fatality in paramedics and firefighters and the rest that are related to, I guess, natural causes. The idea that it was an actual act of violence is a little bit more unusual and all the more tragic. On the way over here, I was passing by the place where they are having a ceremony this evening, and there were a great number of firefighters and other emergency responders. And I think it's something that I'm glad that Commissioner Carpenter has brought up. I think as we go forward and as we think about how we deal with this, I think Commissioner Wagner has a well-taken point, that is that at the bottom of many of these incidents is mental illness. And for those who have had their families touched by violence, it is certainly more pertinent and all the more poignant to see other deaths occur. But it has gotten worse in the Northland. Nobody can deny that. It was a couple of years ago, I had Gladstone Police Department examining the front of our house for bullet holes. That was something that I would never thought would have been an occurrence in Gladstone. And as I said, I think there is certainly a facet that is related to mental illness, but I think, and it's maybe not something we like to think about, but there is evil in this world. There are people who are emotionally disturbed, but as surely as there is a God, there is a devil, and as surely as there is good, there is evil. And I think that we need to be facing that reality. Yes, we should be working within the realm of what we can accomplish as far as reaching out to those who have emotional problems and to stop them from slipping into that abyss. But let us never doubt for a moment, there are people who walk this earth that are in fact evil. Whether they are or not, whether they are beyond redemption or not is not a question that I have the ability to answer. I have faith that anybody can be redeemed, but we do need to recognize that if we see a rabid dog, we're not going to be able to rehabilitate that dog. And we need to understand that we are dealing with problems that are sometimes beyond our ability to solve, and we are going to have to come up as a society with solutions. The Northland is not what it was 20 years ago, or even more recently. We are, in fact, going wrong direction when it comes to the violence that we are experiencing as a community. And there is no one explanation, there is no one entity, there is no one person who is going to be able to come up with our solutions. Once again, I think Commissioner Carpenter and I think Commissioner Johnson, I was going to get it. Commissioner Johnson hit on the same point, and that is that this is a problem that requires all of us to be involved in the solution. There is no magic bullet. There is no great leader who is going to be able to solve this. We need to be looking at our neighbors, and then we need to be looking within ourselves if we're going to have real solutions. With that, we are adjourned.